What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bolero. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gablim, and Maui Up. What's up, guys?
Pamasko natin to,
Yun.
bros.
Happy holidays! Oo nga, Merry Christmas. Isang surprise episode before the Christmas or the holidays para naman may mapakinggan kayo habang nasa bahay kayo, 'di ba? And you saw it in the title, we're going to do the Boleros Season 87 Awards today. And this is something we've been doing in the past season. So, dun sa mga old listeners natin, you've probably heard an episode like this in the previous season. So, we just had to do it. So, marami tayong awards.
Kung may budget na tayo for next season, baka may trophy na tayo na pinapamigay.
Shoutout sa mga gusto mag-sponsor dyan. Baka naman.
Baka pwede. For award sponsor, di ba?
Oo, di ba? Baka naman gusto niya i-sponsor yung mga awards namin, di ba? So anyway, meron tayong mga traditional awards like MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, but we do have some special awards na magugulat na lang kayo. So please watch the entire episode kasi this is going to be very interesting. Let's get started. Let's talk about the traditional awards first. MVP. Obviously, KQ won. Back-to-back MVPs. Sino ang MVP pick nyo? Let's start with you, Maui.
Yeah, obviously it's gonna be KQ. I think no doubt about it. But I think si Mike Phillips also deserves recognition. I think there's a reason why he's number 2 in statistical points, and it's not just about stats for Mike Phillips to watch Lasal games. But at the end of the day, KQ is still your man. He's still the MVP. He's the best player in the team with the number 1 record in the UAAP standings. KQ.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer pick. I think when we were doing our predictions, we all predicted KQ, and it was I think the fastest conversation we've ever had on Boleros. Like, who's the MVP for this season? It's KQ. I don't see it.
Yeah, props to KQ, di ba? Despite being the heavy favorite.
Yeah, he still delivered this season. My only siguro qualm about the KQ winning the MVP is it's Mike Phillips would have won it if assists and steals were not inflated in value. I would say. I mean, they did release the statistical points formula. It's still the same as in season 85, season 86. Assists and steals count as 2 points in statistical points, or are double the value compared to other statistics, which is why we have not seen big men or FSAs near the top of the statistical points rates. So I won't say it's an asterisk to KQ, but he definitely deserves it. Lasal was the best team throughout the elimination round, and he was the best player on that team, bar none. So, obviously, KQ is my pick as well. Sami?
Not gonna argue with you guys on that. KQ, wag na natin patagalin yung conversation. But I do agree na Mike Phillips deserves to be mentioned here. Obviously, the other guys were like JD Kagulangan from the other team. So, KQ, MVP, and I think everyone agrees. KQ naman talaga. Okay, let's moving on. Eto, I'm not sure, but Fico dapat wala ding argument. But we'll see. Rookie of the Year. Gab.
I had him as my pick, and we'll be having a surprise with regards to VJ Pre in the next coming days. But he is my pick. VJ Pre. I was high on this guy since he was, grade 11 in high school. In season 85, when I saw this guy play, and I'm like, this guy is so good. And his first season in the seniors division did not disappoint me at all. This guy was so good. This guy is just amazing. I can't believe how much his skills is refined are refined already. As a teenager, as a rookie, a true rookie in the college ranks, his skills are just way beyond what I could have imagined. I can't wait for his progression. He's definitely the rookie of the year. I know Jared Bahay led it for majority of the season. Again, the inflated assists and steals. But you can't argue with the production that VJ Pare had in season 87. Just incredible. Coach Sean called him the future of Philippine basketball. I totally agree. This guy is the future of Philippine basketball. VJ Pare is my pick.
Grabe yung hype sa shoulder si VJ Pre, di ba? But he was able to live up to it. I think he was one of the top performers during the off-season. And I have to agree with Gab. My preseason pick was Jared Bahay. He was, to me, as good as advertised, but VJ Pre was on another level, in my opinion. He could be a generational talent for the Team Pilipinas eventually if he continues to in his trajectory. I think we've said this multiple times in our episodes in our podcast that VJ Pre is better than KQ was at this point in his career at this age. So maybe the sky's the ceiling. Hopefully he gets that KQ recipe ingredient to further his game and potentially become a wing guard player for Gilas Pilipinas. But yeah, definitely VJ Pre deserves the Rookie of the Year award for this season.
I agree. And despite, siguro, grabe, tama ka Maui, grabe yung hype. And probably that's why we ranked FEU really high when we did our initial power rankings. But despite them not making it to the Final Four, I think VJ Pre was a huge reason why they were very competitive this season. Even though they lost their stars like LJ Gonzalez and a bunch of their main guys got injured. No? So si VJ Pre really helped carry the load for this team. And may surprise kami for you guys about VJ
Watch
Pre.
out for that.
Nyo na lang yun. Watch out for that. We'll learn more about VJ Pre in the future. Moving on. Let's do Coach of the Year. Gab.
I think dito tayo magkatalo. Now, I'm sure one of you guys is gonna pick Coach Gold. I can't argue with that. I mean, he did won the championship, but again, for me, the Coach of the Year goes to a coach who surpassed expectations. Diba? It goes to a coach na willed his team to do something that wasn't expected of them. Diba? Coach Gold, I think preseason pa lang, 3 seasons na running, we expected them to win championships. Diba? So he did win a championship, but I can't give it to him. So I do have to give it to Coach Pido Harencio. I highly criticized coach. Definitely with one of the quotes of the year from Miss Prescon. Mamatay na
Coach
kayo.
of the Year.
Yeah, his yung definitely gave the quote of the year in the UAAP. But we have to give him credit. He did steer UST back into the Final Four. I had UST as my primary baller of the season. And I do think Coach Pido has something to do with that. Now, tactics-wise, I think UST fans and non-UST fans will want a lot more from Coach Pido. Again, it's not the most refined offense with a ton of misdirection.
Modern.
But it's not modern basketball, like sanay tayong makita, but it has been different compared to in the past. So you can see the value of the coaching staff that's being brought in to support Pido. But as with Pido, as what I've said with Coach Pido when he returned to UST, he is a player's coach. Players love playing for this guy. I think you saw it with the many interactions, the many interviews he had with his players, how he interacts with his players on the court. He's very much para sa tatay. I think a lot of when you watch it on Pilipinas Live, the games, you see a ton of the pre-game interviews, and that's always how his players describe Coach Pido. He's like a father to them. And I think a ton of players who have gone through UST always say the same thing about Coach Pido. They love playing for him. He's like a father figure. So maalaga, despite him being strict, nagpapakalbo ng players, yung sinisigawan yung mga players niya, sinisimangutan, they do love to play for him. They will ride and die with Coach Pido Harenzo. And I think you saw that this season, 7-7 record, you'd take it. Again, they were last place for 3 straight seasons. 84, 85, 86. They were
More
last
wins
place
than the last 3 seasons.
Oh yeah, tama, Maui. More wins than the past 3 seasons combined. So I think
That's
take
crazy.
That. That's something you reached a level that was way more than the past 3 seasons. I would give it to Coach Pinto despite all the criticisms and the amount of negativity that's been put in his way. I do think he does deserve some love for bringing UST back into Final Four. Maui.
Yes, actually, that's one of my main criteria when I pick Coach of the Year. It has to be a coach that steered this team to an unexpected finish. That's one of the main reasons why I can pick Coach Gold also, despite him giving the championship back to UP. Diba? All credit is given to them for being able to dethrone LaSalle as the champion despite losing, diba, in the elimination rounds twice. But for me, I actually had 2 coaches in mind. My 2 picks, I would give a tie, or maybe, sige, I'll pick one from the 2, but I'll say the 2. It has to be Coach Jack Santiago and Nash Sasela. Diba?
Whoa.
Jack Santiago.
Ito na naman tayo sa UE Red Warriors, 'di ba? They were probably the darlings of the first round, but they fall heavily they were a falling knife during the second round. They couldn't get up, just going down to the bottom of the earth back. It's one of the reasons why maybe this would have been an easy pick, 'di ba? If Coach Jack was able to steer them to the Final Four, I would have easily said Coach Jack. Kasi I couldn't believe what I was seeing during the first round. But because of that, I don't know how to describe it, that humongous fall in the second round, I would have to go with Coach Nash. Diba? At the end of the day, you have to reward coaches who outperform expectations. Diba? I think that's the main there's a reason why Gab was mentioned by All-Star Magazine for picking Adamson to make the Final Four even before the season started, diba? Nobody, majority of the people did not expect this team to even have a chance to make the Final Four, yet they still ended up going back to the Final Four. And that's why I am picking Coach Nash as that Coach of the Year, because he was able to surpass all expectations.
Oh, I can't blame you for the Coach Nash pick. I actually love it. I've been at Adamson Stan for quite a while now, and
Ako din.
and
Go Adamson.
Ikaw yung main hater ng Gablim and the Adamson Falcons eh. But yeah, one thing to add about Coach Nash, no off-court antics for most of the season.
Big improvement versus previous seasons.
Big improvement versus the previous seasons. And despite all that, he number 1 defense in the league. Allowed the least amount of points to the rest of the competition, and you gotta give credit to that. Despite lacking in size, they only have 3 guys who are big who they play. There's no really superstar that carries this team on offense, but their defense has always been effing incredible. And you have to tip your Boleros cap to Coach Nacho Sela. Sammy, what's your pick?
It's great na kayo yung dalawa yung nauna, because I had both coaches as my Coach of the Year candidates. Initially, I was going to go with Coach Pido Harencio, because sa totoo lang, I was one of those critics of Coach Pido. All throughout the season, sinasabi ko, UST has been a disappointment. I've been very disappointed with them. But at the end of the day, he brought UST back to 3rd place. And that's a huge, given that top two are clearly the two best teams, diba? But I think Maui has convinced me kasi I expected UST to be in the Final Four. I sort of expected, maybe not number 3, but I expected them to be in the Final Four. But I did not expect Adamson to be in the Final Four. And alam mo yan, Gab. Alam nyo yan. I did not pick them anywhere near number 4 when I was doing my power rankings. So with that, I'm swerving. I'm going with Coach Nash as my Coach of the Year. They just keep on surprising me, to be honest. Past 3 seasons, I've been surprised with where they end up placing. So siguro I have to give it to Coach Nash for always surprising me.
Kala ko si Coach Jack yung mag-agree ka
Hindi
Mali
ko pa kaya.
Maui,
Hindi ko pa kaya doon. No?
sorry, I'm usually going for hot takes and all that, pero hindi ko kakaya bigay kay Coach Jackson Tiago, Coach of the Year, Maui. Hindi ko kaya. After that second round and the downfall of UE, I cannot. Di ko kaya.
Okay, moving on. After Coach of the Year, Most Improved Player. Let's start with Maui this time.
I'll say 2. Stats-wise, I would say Sean Tuano. Diba? From a bench warmer to becoming a key contributor to Ateneo. You could say that Ateneo was the last team. But that was how close the standings were. If Ateneo had won 2 games, they could have potentially made the Final Four. And maybe Sean Tuano is another player that we were all talking about right now during the preseason or even during the season. But with the other one that I want to pick, as for ITES, I would say ITES improvement. I have to say Mike Phillips, diba? Maybe also statistical kasi he was second, diba, sa MVP race. And he could have won it, diba, if the statistical point computation was the old formula, diba? Correct. But just watching Mike Phillips from day 1 to now, it's crazy. You don't know if that's the same player, diba? He's now the offensive hub.
Yeah.
He can create his own baskets. He has a mid-range shot. His free throws, he has to work on that a lot this preseason for sure. But he's not shy to also shoot the 3-point shot. But I think the best improvement he has had in his game is him being able to create his own shot and facilitate at the high post. I think that's one of the main reasons why LaSalle was the top team, not just Kevin Kiambao. These 2 players were otherworldly. I would say that Mike Phillips, the improvement of Mike Phillips has not been talked about as much as yung kay Kiambao, but grabe yung development from day 1, from being just motor Mike to becoming what he is today. I'm excited to see where he will be next season.
From Motor Mike to Game Shark Mike. Game Shark Mike, that came from me. That came from
Game
Boleros.
Shark Mike. Oo nga.
Game
That came
Shark
from us.
Mike Phillips. Cheat code on that floor. Sammy, I'm interested for about your pick.
Yeah, I was
before we
gonna
get to
say I'm going to go next kasi I actually had Mike Phillips and I'm surprised that Maui picked Mike Phillips because I thought it was a swerve pick. You sort of expect Mike Phillips to be one of the stars na even before this season started, he was one of the main guys from before. Pero tama ka, Maui. Grabe yung improvement niya. And I still can't believe that he was second in MVP in the MVP rankings, 'di ba? Just overall the game, I think the playmaking you mentioned, even actually the steals, diba? Defensively, we know he's a shot blocker, he's a defensive rebounder, but I cannot remove from my head yung game against FEU when FEU, nobody could effing bring down the ball. FEU was going to win that game, but nobody could bring down that ball because Mike Phillips just decided na I'm gonna guard everybody, I'm gonna steal it from everybody. From the point guard, even to VJ Pre, they just couldn't get past Mike Phillips in the half court. So I was really amazed by that. There were also a lot of times where Mike Phillips just carried this team. It wasn't always KQ. That's what we thought. Parang, oh, let KQ cook. KQ will always be there. But no, there are a lot of times where Mike Phillips took over games. And it's just so surprising to me how good he is now. So he's also my MIP pick.
I actually had a ton of picks for MIP. I looked at players, pero a lot of them were inconsistent. So, like Josh Lazaro, I think we all were talking about it in the early season, but he sort of disappeared towards the end of the first round and then into the second round. Wala na masyadong ginagawa si Josh. But we saw the improvement. He was now willing to take shots. He was now more aggressive. Sean Tuano, as Maui
Good
said.
picks. Yeah.
Terence Fortea, who was marginalized in season 86, suddenly back in the rotation. But again, kind of disappeared from the rotation when they decided to go heavy into their main five guys. Kind of disappeared. So, yeah, another inconsistent guy. But my pick for MIP, I have to go someone from the Adamson Falcons. That's Matty Erolon.
I had him as my honorable mention. That's a good
Look at
pick.
his stats. Look at his stats from last season, man. He averaged, I think, less than 8 minutes per game, less than 4 points a game, less than 1 rebound per game, less than 1 assist per game. Now look at his stats. I think he shot 36% from 3, nearly 10 points a game. His minutes doubled, or certain points in the season even tripled his minute total from his minute average from last season. He averaged more assists. He was doing a lot more playmaking. Last season, his role was simply, you're a shooter. You're gonna come off screens. You're gonna shoot open threes. That was Matty Erolon's role. Now, totally different. If you saw Matt Erolon last season, you would not even dream of Matt Erolon having this type of offensive acumen or offensive bag. Yes, he can shoot. We all knew that. Who knew that he could run the pick and roll too? Who knew that he had a floater game? Who knew that he had a mid-range shot that he could stop and pop from the mid-range? It would just work off the pick and rolls. So, diba? A totally different aspect to his game. I think si Coach Nash, when he was asked in the press con, how are you gonna deal with the loss of Jerome Lascimosas? And he said directly, it's okay. I do have Matthew Montebon. I do have Matt Erolon. So he saw the potential in Matt Erolon. The numbers are clear as day. The eye test, the on-court product, that what you saw from Matt Erolon this season, I think for me, he's my most improved player of UAAP season 87. Totally different from what he was doing in the past. And for the most part, I mean, he did have some bad games. I mean, a ton of bad games here and there. But he was one of the main playmakers of Adamson, and you wouldn't have imagined that if you watched Matt Erolon last season.
I would argue he's not just one of the main playmakers, but I would argue he's the most important player for Adamson nung season na to, Gab. More than he has surpassed Montebon. He has probably more important than Cedric Manzano. I think he missed one game kasi nagkasakit siya or something like that. They lost and then he had like a comeback game after that. I was really surprised with how good this guy was. And I think you mentioned him or maybe you picked him as one of your parang surprise picks or underrated picks for the start of the season. So again, every time Gab picks Adamson or someone from Adamson, they usually end up delivering. So I love that pick, Gab.
The Adamson Whisperer, bro. The Adamson Whisperer. It continues. Okay, let's go next.
Next, best FSA. I'm interested where Maui is going with this. Kasi alam ko may favorite FSA si Maui.
Ako, favorite FSA ko is pretty obvious. This is probably one of the teams that I've been cheering on for the past few seasons. It has to be Motong Kara from the UST Growling Tigers. They finally have an FSA that plays. Diba? Since during the previous seasons. Their FSA, the previous FSA abandoned them, basically. But I love how he was utilized this season. It's not every day we see FSAs who are wing players in the UAAP. Shout out also to Chabio Galing UST din yung last time that we got a wing player as an FSA.
Mm.
I love how Tongkara was dominant. Despite being a wing player, he was able to still bang in the post and control rebounds. I think that UST should retain the services of Mo Tongkara. It would be crazy if they decided to change FSAs. Rumor has it that Dave White, it's crazy. Both the most from FEU and UST, arguably the top FSAs of the season, could be replaced, and I think both of them deserve to stay with the current teams. But Tongkara was a treat to watch. Just dominant. I love how he was able to space the floor also. And you saw the big drop-off when Tongkara was on the bench with foul trouble with UST. So he's definitely my FSA of the year, leading UST back to the Final Four as a third seed.
Ako, I'm
Yep.
gonna swerve. I'm gonna pick Ayodeji Balogun. I can't say it with a straight face.
Foul,
Joke lang.
foul.
Of
It's
course,
too
I'm
early,
not gonna. Of course, I'm not gonna pick Ayodeji Balogun. My
Uy, baka magalit yan. Parang si Omar Jan.
Mag-slide na pala siya sa comment section. O nga, no? I completely forgot na Omar Jan always slid into our comments. It kept on laughing at us. But I think in the preseason, I picked Precious Momoway as gonna be the best FSA for this season. He could have just... Oh, man. Posting up Precious Momoway was not the best tactic, and it led to a ton of flaws in Precious's game, in UE's chances. So, but I'm gonna pick this is definitely down to one of the most, which is kind of funny given the amount of hype given to Balogun, to Henry Agonane, to Dikachi Udodo. All of those guys were mid. Si Balogun was bad. But my pick is Mo Konate. I've harped on this guy for the whole season. Multiple times in the first round, yung a ton of comments in our episodes and even in casual conversations I have with UAAP fans, they always say, uy, yung only teams na may magaling na FSA are UE and UST. And I always say, guys, aren't you forgetting about Mo Konate? This guy is gobbling up rebounds at an elite level. Plays nearly 40 minutes a night on some games. Like, diba? And you can see how important he is to FEU. How important he was to FEU to even carve out what they had 5 wins, diba? He was ever so critical in getting those 5 wins. Diba? And honestly, so some of their 9 losses, they could have easily won because Mo Konate was just such an amazing inside presence and gobbling up those rebounds. He made the mythical 5, rightfully so. I do remember, Sam, when I said to watch out for Mo Konate, that I would not be surprised if he was one of the statistical points leaders. And probably you in the mythical 5, you come end of the season, come the end of the season, and you were like, oh wow, God bless him. Hot take, but really, I saw from the preseason that this guy had post moves. He had great instincts, and it showed. Mythical 5 team selection led the league in block shots and rebounding. What else can you ask for? As Maui alluded to, it would be hella crazy if they sit out a mythical 5 FSA for next
Rookie mythical team.
A rookie.
He's only 20 years old.
Oh, only 20 years old. They would be crazy if they do that. If anyone from FEU or the FEU top management is listening to this, please listen to me. It would be crazy if you sit out Mo Konate for season 88. I will call you a bolero. Unless
You deserve to be fired.
Oh, well, listen, I know they have Montel Shelton there. They recruited him. I'm not sure. I don't know how he plays. He might be good, whatnot, but you cannot sit out a mythical 5 team member from your next season's lineup. That will just blow my brains. As in, yun lang.
Unless
I
ano
know,
no,
I know.
unless grades may problema sa grades or something like
Oh,
that.
Or,
unless may problema sa grades. Or so
or,
na parang NBA level na FSA pala yung si Monterisel.
or if it's Kwame,
Yeah.
Or Embala.
Kwame
That's the
level,
only way.
Embala.
Kwame or Embala levels, di ba?
Yep. But yeah, we're all three of us, and I think a lot of FAU fans are obviously on the side of Mo Konate. He should be playing next season. Sammy.
So tiebreaker ako, but I have to go with the Sultan of Sando on this. I'm going with Mo Konate. Agree with everything that you said. One of the few guys that could match up with QMB and Mike Phillips. And again, I go back to that FEU versus LaSalle game. The reason why FEU was in that game was because Mo Konate was so dominant during the first 3 quarters, actually even the first half of the fourth quarter. I think he grabbed like 25, one of those games na he grabbed like 25 rebounds. And the reason why they lost, Mo Konate just ran out of gas. Sabi mo nga, Gab, he's so important to FEU. He plays every single minute. Siguro mga 30 seconds lang rest niya in each game. This guy was huge for FEU. They wouldn't be anywhere near yung standings nila, 6 wins, 5 wins, if they didn't have someone as good as Mo Konate. So he has to be my FSA. But itong Kara pick, great pick, Maui. I can't argue with you on that. They had another FSA, diba, si Osang. So, but I think we all agreed na Tongkara was the better pick, and they made a good decision on that. So they should keep Tongkara for next season. I agree. Okay,
it would be crazy if either of these Mo's are gone next season. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I love watching these two.
Tawagan na lang Ateneo, bro. If any of those two are not lined up, di ba? Mo na, residency mo na next year. Any of the UAAP teams, it would be crazy.
Okay, moving on. So we're done with our traditional awards. Let's move on with let's talk about some of the interesting awards that we came up with. So this is an old award that we did previously. It's called the One and Done Award. So it sounds obvious. It can be literally the best one and done guy, pero it can also be a one-hit wonder. So imagine mo, someone na did one great performance and then done na. Wala na. One and done. One-hit wonder siya. So you can go either way. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say for this award. Let's start with you, Gab. One and done. Where are you going with this?
One and done. One-hit wonder. Well, I did reference him earlier in the episode. It has to be Josh Lazaro, because the start of the season, we were all raving about Josh Lazaro, how he has changed his game. He looks more confident. He's taking more shots. He led the team in scoring after the first round. You could check the stats. He was averaging nearly 10 points a game, led the team in scoring after the first round. But he kind of disappeared after the second round. So you talk about a one-hit wonder. It wasn't just one hit, but one-round wonder. Yeah, Josh Lazaro. He struggled a bit to match up with bigs, especially when they were phasing out si Balogun from the rotation. He played more center. He struggled with that. He's obviously much shorter than
out of position talaga, no?
Yeah, the rest of the field. But we were impressed to start the season with Josh. He had a big game against UST in the first round. I don't know if you guys even remember that, when he had 19 points, I think. Was just the best player on Ateneo, and we were all like, oh, who is this guy? Who is this guy, man? So definitely Josh Lazaro. One-hit wonder, one-round wonder. Was a good few games, but went back to the I wouldn't say to the norm, but went back to being a role player. You know, it wasn't exactly the breakout that we envisioned when he started out really hot out of the gate. Maui or Sam?
I like
Sam.
that pick. I think naging factor din na nagka-injury ba siya. There was like a game na he missed, if I remember
Yeah, he was
correctly.
out.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, but
out.
he played big minutes din naman
Yeah,
yung
after
after that. So
that. Yeah, yeah.
I think he was fine.
Maui, where are you going with the one and done pick?
I want to award somebody from UP, but I would also want to say yung one-hit wonder ko should be John Abate, 'di ba? For this season. Grabe yung hype. I was saying to people, maybe this guy deserves to play in the KBL. Ganong level yung hype na nakuha ko kay John Abate this season after watching him have one of the best 3-game stretches from a guard in the UAAP in recent history. But one and done. It has to go with Mr. ROI QMB
Mr.
from
ROI.
Mr. ROI from UP. It has to be the award should be named after him after this season. That's how important he was for UP to reclaim the title. In my opinion, he could have been part of that MVP conversations. QMB was without a doubt their most important player as shown in the finals. If QMB wasn't there, I'm sure that Mike Phillips would have feasted that UP front court. But it's very rare that we see, 'di ba, yung Division 1 players who thrive in the UAAP or Division 2 even players. But QMB was the real deal. Kung may hype nung preseason, kung may hype nung yung lahat ng tao, even those from the non-UAAP teams who wanted QMB to be part of the Gilas pool even before the UAAP stint, I would say he is legit. That's why I name him. I've monikered Mr. ROI QMB. He has to win this award, in my
You
opinion.
heard it here first at at Boleros, Mr. ROI. Yan na yung nickname natin kay QNB. What a great pick, Maui. I think no one can argue against that pick as one and done. He should be named. It should be named. The award should be named after him, QMB. The one and done QMB award. I can't argue with that. But I do actually agree with yung one-hit wonder pick mo. Though I didn't specifically pick John Abate, I did pick the UE Red Warriors and a lot of their players. You can name a bunch of players. Ethan Galang, Gerard Wilson, even Welo Lingo-Lingo.
Huwag ka na pumili player. What a pick.
Oh, di ba? They were really, really good nung first half. They each had maybe their moments. Ethan Galang won a game for them. Gerard Wilson also. Welo Lingo-Lingo, the game winners, the 3-point shooting. But nung second half, one and done, kumbaga one half lang of one round lang and then the second half done na. Kasi nung second round, nawala silang lahat, to be honest. And I don't know what happened. And for a team that really relied on 3-point shooting, it just disappeared for these guys. So I have to pick them as my one-hit wonder team. Sayang. Imagine if they could have been like average, but they were just so bad. Yun yung problema. They were so bad.
The fall
moving
from
on.
grace was glorious. That was the. I think that
Unheard of.
yung that makes your pick, Sammy. I think a clear winner. I think that's pretty. yung that's a good one. Because talagang one hit lang talaga sila. And
Wala ka talaga masasabi.
One round lang eh. And then nawala na. Moving on. Let's be more positive naman. Kasi yung mga one-hit wonder. Let's talk about the Underappreciated award. So, someone that doesn't really fill out the box score or someone that doesn't get talked about that much but is very crucial to their team one way or another, whether it's in a specific stat or yung intangibles. Underappreciated. Let's start with you, Maui.
I'll go back to back with the same pick that I picked for one and done. It has to be said multiple times that UMB was probably the
Hala ko
most
John Abate
underrated.
eh.
Hindi. Hindi naman. No. I have to say talaga kasi I really think that UMB was underappreciated and underrated the whole season, 'di ba? Kasi most of his impact actually came on the other end of the floor where most people don't pay attention, 'di ba? You just when you watch UP games, you'll just see QMB running for that offensive rebound, protecting the paint. I love how he was able to to really give you experience niya from 5 years of Division 1 college in the US. I'm happy kasi nung final sobrang nag-shine si QMB. Nakita talaga yung value niya. And I actually can't believe that he didn't win the most valuable player of the finals, to be honest. That's one of the main reasons why I keep on harping that he's an underappreciated player, because he should have been runaway MVP. He was the most consistent player. He was the most important player during the finals. He hit the most clutch free throws. Diba? In a finals where all of the top players miss clutch free throws, QMB was that guy who hit clutch free throws. So I'm going with QMB for that unappreciated player. Maybe my honorable mention, I just have to say si Christian Porter for being a 6'3 center and going up against 6'10 FSAs, Mike Phillips and QMB. But without a doubt, I would say QMB is my pick for this award.
My pick for this award, and I'm gonna go to two vets. I have a main pick and I have a runner-up pick. My runner-up pick is Chris Kuhn of Ateneo. Why underappreciated? Because on this podcast, and I think a lot of Ateneans have been disappointed with Chris Kuhn. Because we had very high expectations for him. We thought he was the heir apparent to David Defonso. We thought he would be the guy. We thought he would be the top scorer. We thought he would, become a star. But he never took that leap. But if you look at Ateneo this season, I think you have to appreciate the value that he gave to this team. And especially in their 4 wins. He played crucial roles in those 4 wins. Hit crucial shots. Remember the 3Z hit against UST, against UE in the UST QPAV. Remember that the defense that he provided. He scored in double digits in 3 of those 4 wins. I think against Adamson, against UST, and against UE. He scored it in double digits. Hit crucial shots. And for a team that lacks in size, they needed someone like Chris Kuhn to be on the floor for a majority of the game. Because I think he's one from their main rotation. I think he's their tallest player already. Because they're playing a 6'3 Christian Porter. Chris Kuhn was their tallest player, grabbed key rebounds, was for some games he was their leading rebounder. He was a shooter that spaced the floor. He was pretty important to what Ateneo did this season. And yes, he did not develop in the way that we and in the general Ateneo community wanted to, but he's just a good role player, man. You see his effect on the floor. You see his leadership. You see that he's a very switchable guy, can guard 1 through 5. Directs the defense for majority of the time. Him and Sean Ketevis. Underappreciated because he gets a ton of criticism. From me, a lot of the times also. Because, again, he did not take the leap that we wanted him to. But as a guy that you want on your team to defend players, to provide shooting, to provide some secondary playmaking, he's that guy. It wasn't a coincidence when we were forming our 5 or our 6 players to beat UP or La Salle. Remember that episode? I think we all picked Chris Kuhn. Automatically, we're picking Chris Kuhn. He's the guy. He's a glue guy. He's a guy that you can just play with anyone. A 6'4", 6'5" guy who can bring down the ball, defend multiple positions, and hit outside shots. Who doesn't want that? Diba? So, I'm going with Chris Kuhn. But my top pick is Royce Alforque of FEU. And I say underappreciated.
I like that
he
pick.
should be unappreciated. Because a ton of fans, both from FEU and not from FEU, really were getting on this guy, especially with after their loss against NU. Remember that 1-point loss to NU. Royce turned the ball over and took a ill-advised mid-range shot with lots of time on the clock. A lot of guys were getting into Royce Alforque. Actually, yung prior seasons pa lang, ang dami ng disappointed kay Royce Alforque. But he was pretty important to FEU this season. Si Jeffrey, alam ko, yung malakas comment na ayaw niya kay Royce Alforque, na nasawa na siya kay Royce. But he was pretty important to your wins. He started for stretch in the second round when John Ray went for the bench. He was pretty important. The games against Ateneo, he was the one who hit the clutch free throws and clutch layups. It was Royce. For that game against LaSalle, when they came back in the third quarter, that was Royce Alforque. When they took the lead after 3 quarters, when they almost beat LaSalle the second round, si Royce Alforque yun. The veteran, don't underappreciate experience, and he's had a ton of experience. You saw it at multiple points this season. Yes, he's an up and down player. We all can attest that. We've all watched him for so many years. He's an up and down player, but the presence on the floor, the basketball IQ to know that they need a bucket, to know that they need to give it to Mo Konate, to know that they need to give it to VJ Pre. That's Royce Alforque. I think he's pretty much an underappreciated player for this season, and I think if you're an FEU fan, you have to give him his flowers. He's done for his FEU career. He's finally graduating, but he was pretty important to the growth of FEU, especially in that second round, and the growth of the young guys.
I love that pick, Royce Alforque. He roller coaster ride talaga si Royce Alforque, up and down. Ang ganda ng description mo na yun, Gab. But I think he's a great fit for yung FEU team na to kasi veterano siya eh, and he's very, very aggressive. And one of the problems with like rookies is sometimes hindi sila as aggressive or as confident with what they can do or with their shot. So anytime FEU needed the bucket, Royce Alforque is willing to take that shot. Yung drives to the basket niya, fearless drives to the baskets. They will miss him for the succeeding season. I love that pick. But I'm actually and I love the QMB pick, Maui. I can't argue with you on that. But I'm actually going with another UP player. I'm going with Scary Jerry Abadiano, and I'm picking him. One of the main reasons why is because Maui, you showed this to me. Right after UP won the championship, they posted a picture of like a UP team with their 5 players. And Jerry Abadiano was missing from that photo. It was QMB, JD Kagulangan,
Nauna ba si
Francis
Baila?
Lopez. Oo, si Baila yung nasama, hindi si Jerry Abadiano. Francis Lopez Alarcon and then si Baila, diba? Hindi si Jerry Abadiano. And no disrespect to Baila, we all love him here sa Boleros. We were high on him when he joined. He is the future, but dude, UP wouldn't have won that championship without Jerry Abadiano. The number one on the defensive end. You expect that from Jerry Abadiano. He always guards like the best guards of the other team. Pero he doesn't always score a lot. Sometimes pumuputok siya, but he always scores on crucial baskets. Maui, sinabi mo to, 'di ba? Every time LaSalle made the run, Jerry Abadiano would score like a mid-range jump shot or like he hit a huge 3 to bring the lead up to 14 points, I think. Yung hustle niya, I think when LaSalle was making that run, there was like a loose ball nung last 1 minute or something. It was Jerry Abadiano who tipped that or got that ball. So I think this guy is super underappreciated. Nami-miss out siya sa championship photos. So, for me, Jerry Abadiano deserves some praise, deserves to be mentioned dito sa underappreciated award. Okay, moving on.
And we gave him the nickname. I think si Maui was the one who originated it.
Maui gave
Diego
him the
Dario.
nickname.
Baka
Scary Jerry.
naman. Diego Dario.
We love you, Diego, by the way.
Shoutout
We
mo
love you.
naman.
We're big fans of Diego Dario, by the way. Down to our last 3 awards. Eto, interesting to. I wanna hear where people will go. Gab, you suggested this award. The crowd or fan moment of the season. So anything any moment dun sa crowd or sa fans na moment of the season for you. So not related to the people on the basketball court. Let's start with Gab. Let's go with you, Gab, first.
I know there's gonna be a popular pick for this concerning an Ateneo volleyball player and former LaSalle point guard.
Early favorite yun.
God, favorite yun. I think it's ton of memes came out from that pick, diba? I think that's probably the majority of the fans are gonna pick that pick. Si Maui. But my pick is something that wasn't seen on the television screen or on your phones or on Pilipinas Live. It was actually when I watched live Ateneo LaSalle round 2 and LaSalle fans wearing the Ateneo blue Mason Amos jersey in, and showing it to the Ateneo crowd.
That's some next level trolling.
That is some top tier trolling, Sammy. Not just next level. That is top tier trolling by the LaSalle fans. I know at ano Ateneo fans na asar. Ako, natawa ako. Because I have to give them a bow because that is so funny. Next level pang asar na yun from Ateneo, from the LaSalle fans. That is peak Ateneo LaSalle rivalry na
love it.
Grabe. You know LaSalle fans were waiting to do that. They've been waiting for years to stick it to Ateneo fans' face. We're now winning. Your supposed star went to our team, and we're gonna put it in your face with the Get Blue Mason Amos jerseys, and we're gonna show it. And they were chanting Mason Amos's name when LaSalle was up by double digits. That is the top tier for me. Yung as an Ateneo fan for many years and witnessing the rivalry, I have to say that is one of the top tier moments of pang-aasar, of trolling, whatever you call it. That is incredible. I have to bow down to the LaSalle fans who thought of that.
Hall of Fame yun. Hall of Fame troll.
And I bet they even... how did they even source those jerseys?
Wouldn't it be funny kung pumunta silang Ateneo tapos binili nila din yung jersey or something?
Or they had to ask their Atenean friend, hey, meron ka bang Ateneo jersey dyan ni Mason Amos? Bilhin ko. Diba? The value is all-time low. Diba? You wouldn't want to wear that. So, binili nila yun. I'm sure they had to source it somewhere. So, for me, LaSalle fans, you get my crowd and fan moment of the season. I love it. I absolutely love the teasing. And for Ateneo fans, you just have to take it. Mas magaling LaSalle eh. Yun lang masasabi natin, di ba? So, Mason Amos, the jerseys, incredible. Go Maui and Sam.
Ganun talaga buhay. I mean, the only thing probably lacking there is Mason standing with them. Diba? To really
May pictures sila with Mason.
Picture with Mason, that group. But that was crazy. For my pick of fan of the moment, I was supposed to go with the Evan Nelly and Vanny Gandler moment. Kasi grabe yung controversy talaga. And I'm fans of both of them. Vanny is from Ateneo. Evan Nelly is a point guard who I've been watching even before he came to the UAAP. And because of the context and everything. But I would have to say my fan moment of the season is 25,248. That's the UAAP record for fans in an arena in Araneta. That environment was electric. All three of us were there to witness that moment. I've been waiting for that moment for a very long time. Probably the last time I felt goosebumps was during Ateneo's 5-peat run when Ryan Buenafe hit that 3-point shot. That was, I think, one of the times that the Araneta Coliseum was packed. Yung kala mo nag-earthquake when people hit big shots, diba? So, that was my fan moment of the season. All of those people wanting to go to Araneta, from the rafters, puno. Sabi ko sa'yo, Sammy, ang basis mo kung totoong marami ang tao is kung punong-puno ang GA, and that was that game.
Tama ka. That was an experience. And I think, Maui, if you were to pinpoint a specific moment nun, when KQ made that 3 to tie the game, grabe, pumutok talaga yung crowd. Pumutok yung crowd nung time na yun. That was, gave me goosebumps. But, actually, Maui, it's good that you mentioned that moment because I am picking a moment from that same game. So game 3 of the UAAP finals, we talked about this. My crowd or fan moment of the season was when DILG Secretary Remulla was waving off yung challenge call
Yung
na
coach's
tinawag.
challenge!
Yung coach's challenge na challenge ni JD, ni I think it was like Harold Alarcon, like all the entire UP players were like, challenge that. And then si Coach Gold, hindi siya tumingin.
Si Jerry Abadjano ata yun.
Jerry, diba? Si Jerry.
Oo, si Jerry.
And then si Coach Gold, hindi niya nakita si DILG Secretary Remulla kasi sabi niya, wag, outside ng UP, bola ng Lasal. Buti na lang, that call did not matter. So, obviously, the coach's challenge was not successful. At the end, panalo pa rin naman UP. But imagine if that call was crucial, diba? If they lost that coach's challenge. Kasi, nung game 1, one of the reasons why they won that was because they had that coach's challenge to challenge yung isang questionable call. So, buti na lang it didn't matter, but that was really funny to me na he was waving off, telling the coaching staff, wag, don't do it. Okay.
Extra coach siya, pare.
Extra coach eh.
On the other side of the court, siya yung extra coach. Wow, no one went with Vanny Gander and Evanele. I'm surprised.
I think it was
honorable mention.
Gab.
Too early in the season. Honorable mention na lang.
Really, honorable mention. Okay. Last two. Down to our last two. Shot of the year. Marami tayong mga game winners, crazy plays. What's your shot of the year? Let's start with you, Maui.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it a while ago, yung shot of the year ko. It has to be from the finals game, 25,248 people watching. That KQ 4-point shot, I would say. 3-point shot from the 4-point line was crazy. It gave me goosebumps from that Ryan Buenafe shot during the 5-beat of Ateneo. It could have been etched in UAAP history had it not been for my real shot of the year for this season. You can't say that this is not a shot of the year just because it meant everything on the line. It meant them getting that championship back. It has to be Francis Lopez. 3-point shot to seal that championship for UP. With all the criticisms, people calling him the next Aljun Mariano, people telling everyone he threw the game, nagbenta and everything. Francis Lopez, yung mga press conference niya is with explicits, really showed nung game 3 that he belongs in UAAP history. And I don't think people will remember that KQ shot, even though it gave me goosebumps. It will be that shot of Francis Lopez, which will be etched in UAAP history. That changed the landscape. That shot made him a legend, and probably people will forget how badly he played during parts of Game 3 and how badly he threw away Game 2.
Sammy, why don't you go next? I'm interested to see if you're going with a UP shot too.
I love that pick. That would have been my honorable mention just because of how impactful that shot is. Tama ka, Maui. I think that shot really changed the way people saw Francis Lopez. Kasi if he missed that shot and they lost, I'm sure people would keep on talking about Francis Lopez and how he lost Game 2 for them. But because of that, wala na, kalimutan mo na yung Game 2. That wasn't important kasi at the end of the day, nag-champion sila.
May Ferrari na, bro.
May Ferrari na, no? Nandun sa Instagram niya. Anyway, you deserve it. You deserve it. Sige na. But, I do want to, give the UE Red Warriors some positive words. So, gusto ko naman sila ma-put in a positive light. So, I'm going with the Welo Lingo game winner against Adamson to end round 1 for the UE Red Warriors. That was their peak. Yun yung highest moment nila. And that was a crazy shot kasi 'di ba? Parang double pump pa yung tira niya from a rebound.
Off an offensive rebound.
Off the
glass.
That was a crazy play. It was a crazy shot. And that really propelled UE and hyped up everyone. We start, because of that, number one, nag-emergency podcast tayo dedicated just for that game. Some people were talking about UE possibly
Championship contenders.
being a number 2 seed sa round sa UAAP season na to. That really set the bar extremely high. So for me, that's my shot of the year.
Well, I'm surprised, Sammy, because we have the same pick, because I wanted to give some positivity to the UE Red Warriors. They did have some highlights this season, and that was at the top of their highlight list. The fans will remember the first round. They had something to cheer for. This ended nga their first round on a high note. First time we've even done a podcast after the first game of the day. We don't usually do that, diba? We usually tinatapos natin, diba?
Naalala ko yun.
Diba? But that shot was so crazy. Again, he had to chase the offensive rebound, turn around and double pump and put it off the glass. That was such a difficult shot. It was my pick too. Siguro my honorable mention was, of course, the tip in with 0.3 seconds left by Josh Royero. You don't see that ever in the UAAP. So, again,
and they needed that win, yung sa Adamson, just to make it to the Final Four.
Win. Yes, it's exactly. But off a blunder by the NU coaching staff, not defending the rim, siguro that puts it down a notch because it didn't come naturally. But Lingo's shot was definitely on the top of my list.
Okay, we're down to our last award. Ito, favorite din namin to. I think we've done this award before. The Who Player of the Year. So, yung player na came out of nowhere. Hindi mo kilala, hindi mo in-expect, came out of nowhere. Or maybe a player na, wala lang, maybe hindi siya big-time player, pero just played one game, tas nagulat ka, sino ba tong player na to? So, let's start with Maui. Sino yung The Who Player of the Year mo? A guy that just came out of nowhere, surprised you. Nakamute ka, Maui. Nakamute ka.
Sorry. It has to be Royce Pantua, my pick for that Who player. Even during the off-season pa lang, napansin ko na who's this guy for Adamson, and I thought that he would be a crucial part of the rotation. He was indeed one of the crucial players sa rotation nila during the end of the season. I love how he was able to still make an impact despite not having won during the early parts of the season. I think he was able to really, he broke out nung second round of the season. And I was waiting for it the whole season kasi I think I mentioned this to you guys. I think maybe when Gab and I were watching some Phil Oil or Pinoy Liga games, I saw Royce Mantua and who's this guy? And then Gab told me that guy is from UST. I didn't even know that he played in the UAAP. I didn't even know that he played in the UAAP, but right there from there, I knew that guy could potentially be a rotational player for Adamson, and I think that guy could surprise us come season 88 also.
Okay. I'll go next, Gab, kasi related yung pick ko kay Maui. I'm picking actually someone else from Adamson. I'm picking AJ Fransman. But I love that pick kasi these two guys came out of nowhere for Adamson. So for me, AJ Fransman, when we saw him nung preseason pa lang, parang, sino yun? Yun ba yung isa sa mga Phil Foreign recruits ng Adamson? Pero hindi, taga Laguna lang siya. Si AJ Fransman was huge for this team. I think he had like a career high 18 points in one game. I remember yung super low scoring game against UE where UE just scored 37 points, and Adamson also couldn't hit a shot nung game na yon. But I think AJ Fransman scored like 8 or 9 points during the final quarter, something like that, to help Adamson pull away from UE. This guy was a magic recruit for Adamson. If you guys remember, in the previous season, they had Vince Magbuhos. I think he was huge for the team, and I think they didn't miss him as much because they had AJ Franzman. So he's not as big as Magbuhos, but sort of filled in for that role. So for me, the Who out of nowhere, AJ Franzman, performed better than their mga hyped up recruits. So talagang magic bunot si Franzman.
Yeah. Fun fact lang about Franzman. Gab,
go.
I just learned this a while ago. I don't know if you guys was able to know this during the previous season. He was out with a sickness during the end of the season. It was apparently chicken pox.
Yeah.
Chicken pox.
Varicella zoster infection. Kaya nung Final Four, I was gonna bring that up, Mounty. Very key yung absence niya nung Final Four nung nawala siya because again, their front line was so thin. He was their backup power forward and backup small forward for majority of the season, and the fact that he was out really, and a guy who can provide offense in this Adamson team who struggles on offense. So his absence was sorely missed. He was sorely missed in that Final Four against LaSalle. Maybe could have been 10-point blowout rather than 20. So anyway, my pick for this sorry.
Grabe, Gab. Wala na, nabawasan na yung Adamson Street cred mo.
Well, I just had to say it. They've been blown out by LaSalle 3 times this season. But I had 2 picks for my player of the season. The first and runner-up, because he wasn't really someone I didn't know coming into the preseason or coming into the season 87. But it was Mark Liemit. Because that is the Who was exactly my reaction when I first saw Mark Liemit.
My runner-up.
Yeah. Because he didn't play the whole preseason. The last time we saw Mark Liemit in season 86, he was struggling to become a wing player or become a perimeter player because he played as a big man in high school. He wasn't hitting his threes. He was struggling with his handle. He was struggling guarding opposing perimeter guys. Was essentially a bench player for Coach Pido in season 86. Then suddenly, in season 87, he comes out and he can now bring the ball up the floor. He can now dribble. He can now set plays. He's now a shooter. He can now defend opposing guards. He's now he's the one tasked by Coach Pido to guard guys like JD Kagulangan, to guard like Jared Bahay, John Ray Pasaon. He's the one being tasked to be the point of attack defender for this UST team, and I was so surprised. Surprised when I first saw him. Like, who is this guy? How did he become this? From last season, after 1 year, he slimmed down. His handle was so much better compared to last season. Mark Liemit is definitely the runner-up for my Who player of the year. But my number one Who player of the year is Rainier Maga of UE, because I had no idea who Rainier Maga was when UE started playing in Pinoy Liga and in Fail Oil. I'm like, okay, I know about John Abate. I heard news of him when he went to UST and then he transferred to UE. Muling Tapang, there was big news of his recruitment because he was a star in the NCAA juniors. We knew all others. Then this guy, Rainier Maga, suddenly he's hitting threes. He's now running plays. He's now the main point guard. In the second round, I would argue he was the only consistent UE Red Warrior in the second round when they were free falling. He kind of stole the thunder from John Abate. John Abate was their point guard in the first round, was consistently scoring and making plays, but then Rainier Maga took majority of his minutes in the second round. We were asking this, why is John Abate only getting like 15 minutes a night? Wasn't he the guy, the number 2 scorer beside Momoway? But now, no, it was Rainier Maga. And I think if you watch Rainier Maga at all for this season, you like what you see. You see future star because he can do a lot of things on the court. Can definitely shoot. He can drive to the basket, can play make, you can run pick and roll, can shoot those mid-range shots.
Will he
So
stay?
definitely, that's the question, of course, Maui.
Grabe, Maui,
Good point.
foul.
Perhaps we'll get more news of that in the coming months. Pero Rainier Maga, definitely my who player of the season. Didn't even know that he was recruited by UE. Didn't even know that he was this good. But Rainier Maga.
Tama ha. I love that pick. Actually, when he had a good game nung preseason, tapos I had to Google him. Sabi ko, sino ba tong Rainier Maga na to? Tapos parang may random Facebook video lang na parang Air Maga, yun yung nickname niya. Tapos parang, okay. So, random Facebook videos lang yung basis ko. So, that's like a perfect definition of who? Player of the Year. I love that pick, Cap. Okay, that's it for today's episode. Those are 10 awards. Please, comment down below to all our listeners, sino yung mga awardees nyo for all those 10 awards. Do you agree with our picks? Do you have your other picks? Please share them down below. We'd love to read your comments. And you're probably watching this during Christmas or during the holidays. So enjoy your holidays. We hope you have a fun, blessed holiday with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Thank you once again for always listening to us, for supporting the show, commenting, engaging with us. To all those people that bought caps from us, I have met a few of them, so I do still have to shout out some of them. Gab, let me just check my notes. Any last words before we go?
No, just thank you. We still have a ton of postseason processing to go through. So watch out for that. Go ahead, Sammy.
Wala pang mga
Okay.
pasabog.
Wala pa. So, abangan nyo yun. But just a shout out to some of the people that I met recently. Sina Dr. Ivy, si Jimbo, Hazel, si Karen, and Renato. People that have been supporting the show for a long time. I met Joel. So, thank you again for buying caps. And to people who are interested to buy caps, we're still selling some. We still have some stocks left. Please check out the link in the description box below. We do have pink, beige, and brown. That's it. Thank you for supporting the show. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.